Good morning. Thank you all for joining us this morning with Coffee with KBLIC. My name is Amber DeAngelis, and I'm a business and technology librarian at the Boston Public Library. And today we have with us, certainly not least, we have Edgard Arty, who is a VP and relationship manager and my banker at REEVX Labs. So I just want to a couple of housekeeping notes before we begin. If you would like to ask a question, you can comment in the live chat. You can also email us later on if you have questions about services that we offer. And if you want to tweet at us with the hashtag Coffee with KBLIC, that is there as well. So, Edgard, welcome to the program.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you this morning? Thank you for joining us. So Edgard,
Thank you for inviting.
yeah. So Edgard, can you like chat with us? Sort of tell us about yourself, and sort of give us a little background about what you do specifically at REEVX Labs.
Sure. Yep. So my name is Edgard Arty. I am the relationship manager for the REEVX Labs in Boston. I support in support of Berkshire Bank. My job is to reach out to the community and really discuss things that affect the community. So I'm part of a financial literacy program. We help with nonprofits to find money, community outreach, small businesses, if you will, people in the community that have been affected by either COVID. And also long-term community building with, the wealth gap and such. My job is to kind of connect the people to the branches, to the bank, and find resources and help them to, bank with dignity at the end of the day.
Right.
Yeah.
So
and part of that is a concierge service that I provide as your relationship manager. All the resources that we have at the bank, we bring it to you at your doorstep and walk you through the process from soup to nuts.
Nice.
That's basically what I do.
Nice. So the reason why we have you here, well, also you being the Boston liaison for Berkshire Bank, but also the reason why we have you here is you are a veteran too. Can you speak sort of about your experience as a veteran and sort of helping folks who want to go into the service and actually transition back into civilian life?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, 10 years, United States Army, served back in the 90s, came home, commenced 2005, 3 tours, and lived around the world. I came back. I'm sorry, yeah.
I was going to say, oh, wow, 3 tours?
Yeah. And, I came back kind of in a way where I didn't really like going into the military. I didn't know what was kind of going on. I did it for the sake of wanting to go to school. I came from an environment where I was like, I want to go to school, but I couldn't afford it. So one of the things that we saw on the TV or listened to on the radio was, hey, go to, join the military and we'll pay for college. I was a little apprehensive at first because the first thing you think is, oh, they're going to send me off to war and then that's it. But the recruiter that I was working with really kind of mapped out the process and actually kind of gave me a bit of a blueprint of their mission that kind of I adopted to this day. And with that experience, I actually went to sign up for 3 years and I ended up staying for 10. Just because of the experience. It was a really good time. And then within that, I was able to train and not only that, but then also go to school while I was in the military, specialize in, logistics and work for the DOD while I was in. And then when I got out, I applied those skills to then go on to college and then I started a business And then I ended up coming to work for a bank to where I'm at today. Yeah, the experience was a good one. And I think that once the misconceptions of being in the military are kind of dispelled, they say, oh, military doesn't serve people in the community, or they create this warmonger kind of mindset, which is not. If you really do the research, if you really, it's all about testing well when you initially start, and then there are like 300 plus jobs within the military. They have lawyers, they have doctors, they have lab techs.
Do they have librarians?
They have librarians. They have filmmakers. Literally, you have photographers in the military, right? So I always say it's like another world when you're in the military. They have communities that are the size of even Boston, if not greater in some areas, right? Where they have like base PX or, shopping centers, malls, and so on and so forth. So exactly what we're doing in the civilian world, they're doing the same thing in the military world. It's just that their primary job is to serve in the proper service that they are, whether it's Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force. I'm biased because I was in the Army. So, I think the Army is the best. But, and I always say, Air Force is always because I enjoy the Air Force, I say it's a close second. But but one of the things I realized is understanding the benefits when you do go out, because when you do come out is really key in being successful in that transition. It took some time for me to really understand what that was and how to utilize it to my advantage. So, as I went along, and I was able to use these resources, I kind of took notes and put it aside until I came up with what I kind of work with the youth today to discuss the advantages and the benefits. Also veteran families that are still in, there are bases here in Boston, whether it's Hanscom, Hanscom, I think there's another one that I don't forget, but Hanscom, there are bases, and that support is important too. So yeah,
sure.
I think it's important. No, I just think it's important for the vets or family members to know what the benefits are and how they can utilize, leverage those benefits to their advantage.
So let's talk about some of those benefits. And you alluded to one earlier when you were talking about what it meant to go into the military, and that it was for school. So you talked about the GI Bill. Can you talk sort of about like what other resources what the GI Bill is for some folks who don't necessarily know what that is, and some other resources that folks can take take advantage of if they wanted to learn or sort of upskill and become more employable. So
sure, yeah. So the GI Bill, especially now, what's being used is the post 9/11 GI Bill.
Okay.
This benefit and this bill is used for veterans to then apply and go to colleges, pretty much any college that they can successfully be admitted to. They cover the cost of the school. I think it's up to, I don't quote me on the exact number.
Sure.
But put it this way, one of my colleagues actually, when they came home, went to Harvard University on this post 9/11 GI Bill, and everything was covered to include books.
Oh, wow.
The advantage of that also is, especially as a veteran and outside, you will get a variable rate based on your housing. So they pay you to go to college. So while you're in school, they pay you a monthly stipend. And I know in Boston, being one of the highest housing markets in the nation, Boston, New York, California proper, we tend to get the highest rate of what's called basic housing allowance, BAH.
Oh, yeah. The cost of living here is so high. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can get anywhere upwards of, I would say, I mean, and I'll be dating myself. 20 years from now, it'll probably be different. But I'd say today, it looks like it's about, $4,000 a month.
Oh, wow.
That
would be a nice chunk of change to have. I actually
That's
just
right.
dropped a link to the GI Bill benefits in the chat, so if people want to check that out. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Yeah.
No. So that's one of the benefits that really, one of the benefits that helps, because now you're looking at being able to go to school. You're going to school for free, and then you're able to, not worry about, okay, because I'm going to school full time. You also have to be a full-time student. So that's, 12 credits or better. You can get part-time benefits as well. The money goes a little bit lower, but because of that, housing, you're pretty much taking care of your housing. So that's one of the things.
That's amazing.
In the Black and Brown community, I talk about this a lot. When we talk about building wealth or creating wealth in the community, right? A lot of misconceptions, or just, kind of misdirections, if you will, right? It's like, I have to either do this, this, and this, especially amongst the youth, right? It's very, sometimes it becomes limiting. I always say to the young guys, and like I said, first of all, I come to them where they are. I said, if you really want to boss up, right? This would be a term. If you really want to boss up, let me show you exactly what this looks like. So then in the time that you would, even your college time frame, if you think about it, students go to college 17 to 21. Do the same thing in the military, 17 to 20. Like, say your first enlistment is usually around 3 to 4 years. Now, you can go to college and try to figure out how you're going to pay for it, and your loans and your Pell Grants and all of those things. And then a lot of times they either drop out a few semesters or decide I can't do, whatever the case may be. There's always some sort of barrier or a setback or just whatever it is that I say, hey, listen, the military is the same thing. You're at the same time frame. You can, score. The first thing is score well on the ASVAB. The ASVAB is the aptitude test in order for you for them to be able to place you in where you would place for a job. Score really well. You can choose your job. There are guidance out there. There are people like myself that can help and talk to them about how that looks. And then you choose your job. You do that same amount of time. Now you have a competitive edge if you decide to come out and after those 4 years, where you do your time in the military, gained experience, you've traveled, you've gained a skill. If you're like a lab tech or whatever, now that's transferable on the outside. You could further hone those skills by going to college. That discipline will be there for you to go to college. A lot of people go to college and say, I just don't want to go. It's just too much. Like sometimes people after high school don't even want to deal with that college life because I've been in school for 12 years, right?
Yeah. Well, I was even thinking of the expense. Like, I've been out of college for a long time, and I'm still, right now, thank God, the loans are sort of suspended. But like, I've been paying student loans for over a decade, and thinking about when
It's a trap.
Yeah, it is a trap. You were talking about it earlier, sort of wealth building. In a way, student loans are a barrier to wealth building for young people under essentially people under 45, really, when more people were starting to take out student loans. I also want to plug something a little bit. You mentioned the ASVAB. I put a resource in the chat. It's called Learning Express Library. With your library card and PIN, you can actually sign in, and we do have ASVAB prep tests, and we also have the test books at the library. So if people are curious about what that tests looks like and are looking for practice tests, that's a resource that we have. But yeah, I want to sort of touch back on the wealth building and some of the work that you guys do at REEVX to sort of help folks get on that path to wealth building, if you can speak to that.
Yeah, so it's all about information, putting out the right and proper information.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with COVID, what did it do? It kept us in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And we learned a lot about ourselves. We learned a lot about each other, the community, and what was needed. I think with the uprising in the communities after George Floyd and all these other, tragic stories and situations, it really, it woke, I would say woke America up to really recognize that there's an injustice in this community, in all of the communities. I think the people are frustrated and tired of this kind of, injustice. Black, brown, gay, straight, just everyone. We are the new activists. Like, there's a new sense of responsibility and activism that the youth has taken on, and just the people that are tired and sick and tired of being sick and tired. With that, the empowerment came about was we need to figure out how we can come to the table, and it's finance. The gap is a financial gap that has been, we could go either way, whether it's reparations, whether it's, recognizing what the system looks like and how it's rigged or how it's against you. These are conversations that are being had and actually being pushed forward. But one, literacy is very important, because once you understand the financial responsibility on your end and the responsibility on the other end, and you're more aware, that's going to now have you plan better. One of the things that we've failed to do in our communities, we failed to plan because we didn't know, we didn't have that information. It wasn't given to us,
Right.
And a lot of times, or in a lot of families, it was secretive. We don't talk about finance in a lot of the Black and brown communities. We just don't. I come from a Caribbean family, and I know when I was coming up, my moms didn't talk to me about, how she bought the house or how she bought her house, or, it's just kind of like, it was what it was. And we were fortunate to have a house. That's another conversation altogether. But I'm just saying, to even understand what that was about, it was just, you just move through, you save your money. These conversations were not being had. I'll just put that all together. Now the conversations are being had. We start from the basics, writing checks, making deposits, creating savings. How does that look like? Resources that can help you. The relationship you should have with your bank.
Right.
That's important. Back in the day, the banker was your parents. You knew them by your name and how it worked for them, and you needed a loan, and you talked to Mr. Johnson at the bank, and he helped you out. I know it's not like that. The branch situations, that infrastructure is changing. We're more online.
Right.
But I think with what we're doing for REEVX is that we're kind of bringing that community banking and bringing that trust, that with our expertise, with our knowledge, that we're able to kind of create that. So then you're better leveraging those relationships so you can utilize it to your advantage.
Right.
And that's what's important to us.
Oh, sorry. Repeat that. I'm sorry.
No, and I said that's one of the things that's just important to us, right?
Yeah.
Because we're working with these people. We're also tying in with community leaders. We're tying it all together. So then there's a synergy of trust that it's going to, and trust and awareness that's going to bring that, I should say, awareness that's going to bring that trust to the people in the community.
Yeah. So I actually talked about that a little bit with your colleagues in the last two sessions, and like traditionally banks were not places where folks necessarily felt welcome,
No.
which is part of the problem. And it's good that, you know, we're getting back in the community, even thinking about just like what it means to be, you know, walk into a bank. Like, I'm dating myself, but like I used to have like a passbook account. And I
Right.
remember going and getting one of those. Uh, but and like there was that face-to-face time. And
Sure.
so we were chatting a little bit earlier, sort of before the stream. Um when you're going for a small business loan, like it's or you know, or PPP or whatever, it's helpful to be in known quantity. And we talked about this with Carlene as well. But so what are steps that some veterans or mil-spouse families can take to sort of um, get to know their bank better, whatever institution that they choose to go to?
Well, one, I'm going to plug, come see us at REEVX Labs. My information bio is there. Because
Yeah.
again, like I said, you know, our mission is to service the community. And with that, uh, we bring that concierge service and any information. And I bring it at a level where it's not like jargon, right? I always tell them I meet you where you are.
Right.
You know, my background, you know, although I've been in banking for some time, I have many different backgrounds. As a business owner, I was in the military. I'm from your community. You know, sometimes hey, listen, I'm that guy that used to be in your hood, and I know the ins and outs, right? So I'm gonna meet you where you are. That's why I'm plugging what I'm saying. I'm gonna plug that first, all right? And I'm part of the community that I can also talk to you on that level. But I would say, you know, go to a bank and really just talk to your branch manager, your sales agent, create that relationship so they know what's going on with you. And then they can assist you and walk you, you know, you create a profile with them and they can assist you along the way. I think that's just important, you know, especially when you're in the community, like the community banking portion, right? You know, there's, you know, people shop loans online, and I know the importance of those things, but building a relationship with your banker is important because that's going to help build a better profile for you. So then, and there are banks in the community that are still coming into the community that want to build that relationship. I think it's been turning around because of the fact that they know that there's a disparity and they want to be able to help. It's not like back in the day when it was like you just went there to cash a check and you keep it moving and they try to sell your credit card. I mean, that's still happening, but I think they want to create some information so you walk away with a better understanding of what they're trying to do, and it's not just transactional on their end. Yeah, that's it. For the most part, that's how I would say, just build a relationship with your banker. But first and foremost, you reach out to me and we'll make that happen.
So switching gears a little bit, sort of going back to veterans, but on that theme of relationships, what are some of the common things that you see in younger veterans, or actually even older veterans, with respect to some finances, maybe resources that they aren't aware of, or just common mistakes that they're making, sort of managing their money or even their small business? I asked you like 7 questions in that. So, yeah, I'm just curious, sort of what folks, you know, tend to miss. Yeah.
Well, let me back it up a little bit. I'll tell you two main things that stick out in my head that a lot of veterans don't take advantage of, that don't understand how it can help leverage their situation. Because again, like I said, we're talking about how we're giving back to the community, how the how outside community can give back, or we're talking about reparate, all these things, right? I say these 2 things can almost guarantee you a situation where you're setting it up for your future. Right. So this is what's missed. The school is very important because again, you get to go to school for free. That's going to give you leverage to find a job. So, I mean, you're going to college, you're going to get a skill. Why are we going to college? To get a skill so we get a good job. And so that leverage is going to put you ahead, right? One, you're also getting paid at the same time. That's, I mean, you tell me a college student's getting paid to go to school. I don't know, right? On top of that, VA benefits are very, like the VA loan, taking advantage, as long as your credit is decent. And there's a secret too, like literally your score, your credit score, we could talk about that a little bit too. Your credit score doesn't even have to be that high, but taking advantage of the VA loan and its opportunity to purchase a home is very important.
Yes. Speaking of wealth building.
Because that is one of the fastest ways that you can build wealth.
Yeah.
A lot of the Black families in the South and on the West Coast back in the day, even with all the laws that was going against them, and I'm going to speak maybe in the 60s moving forward, I don't know, pre that time, they were able to purchase their homes and use what they would build as equity in their homes to then start their businesses and to move forward.
Ah, I see.
And that was one of the key advantages to help them build that wealth and, you know, become successful in their own right, and then, you know, pass that along. I think up here, the stress was the you know, and I say the South because that's what it was. A lot of military families came from military families, like generational. I think up here it was more, let's go to school, let's figure it out, go to school. And it was kind of, you know, that was that separation. That's what I have noticed.
Okay.
But those are the two things that are kind of missed, because once you use those benefits, you're on your way.
Right.
And people, and a lot of times they don't know. They commence from the military, they kind of come home and they're struggling on the job market. They're trying to figure out what's going on. There's a lot of PTSD that happens. Whether you are in, and here's the thing, whether you're in combat or not, it does happen because once you're in the military, you kind of train the military way, right? I remember going down the street when I came home, like, people don't even know how to walk straight. Like, what's going on? Right? My wife now, then girlfriend back then, she was like, what do you mean you don't know how to walk straight? I was like, they don't know how to walk straight. Those things, or I'd be rolling my socks, you know, those things were a thing. But I think that, you know, understanding that and utilizing those resources, it's one of the key things that can help start building that wealth and understanding. There are a lot of programs out here that help with that. I know there's a cohort in Boston called InnoVets.
Okay.
I don't know if the workspace is open, but it's definitely one of Boston's first veteran and incubator spaces that help veterans to kind of navigate what they are looking to do, whether it's start a business, you know, purchasing a home.
Cool.
But they're really good, and I actually pre-COVID have reached out to them because of the program that I'm working on talking to the youth about veterans and or the military and how to become, you know, active and understanding what their role in is. That they're really good in reaching out and providing guidance in that way. So yeah.
Cool. I dropped that link in the chat. This is a really cool organization. Actually, I'll pull it up on screen just so people can see. Yeah. I've never heard of this place before, so that's a good resource to know. Thank you for sharing that, because like I can point people that way. We often get veterans who are looking to start businesses, and I'm just telling them, get a loan from a VA or an SBA loan. So the VA, does the VA give out loans for small business, or do you have to get an SBA loan?
So we work closely. Yeah, so we work closely with SBA because that lending process is still is what it is. You know, because so with owning a home, the collateral is the home, right? So, but with the business, we still have to vet how the process of how the bank is going to get paid back. but there are programs that can help walk you through that process and almost even streamline, so your profit and loss statements, how to write the business plan. There are cohorts that help you with that process and along those lines. And again, the one I just mentioned, they help you work through that. There's so many that if you just Google one, it can literally open a Pandora's box of many, and a lot of them are really good.
Okay.
And again, the incentive is to help veterans, right? So, I feel like, governments and agencies they feel that responsibility. I know, sometimes you hear like, veterans are kind of left out, but it is kind of like, again, programs like this one, that kind of put it all together and then create that positive creative space, or, the guidance. They want to help the veterans. It's like, it's important because, these vets have served the country. They want to make sure that they're doing the right thing responsibly to, pay that back, get that back. So, yeah, I found it to be successful on my end. I would have never have thought about, going to the school I went to or purchasing a home the way I did. Like all of those incentives really helped and shaped the way my outlook on what I was going to be when I grew up.
Yeah, that's amazing. It sort of opened up pathways for you. So again, whatever institution that you choose to do banking with, it's important to have that conversation with them, because they'll be able to point you to some of these resources, especially the veterans resources. Seems like veterans and military families like have a large community to sort of support each other as well. Can you sort of just speak about that? Like, because I think networking allows people to sort of create new opportunities in a way.
Yeah. So, so their mission. So are you saying within the military or just overall, or?
Overall, like in, out, around.
Yeah. So it's very important, right? So so let's talk while you're in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being deployed is one of the things that could be very strenuous for military families, right? Mommy or daddy's gone overseas or wherever they're being deployed to. They're usually gone for a period of time. The planning of it is a little hectic because,
right.
You're planning, you're packing and where you're going to be, the life plan, if something was to, unfortunately happen, those things are, and we're not talking about even combat, just anything can happen at any point in time. That support is very important because of the fact that the family needs that sense of security. Mm-hmm. On the bases, there are many programs that aid in helping those and supporting family spouses, military spouses. Mm-hmm. They're very good at making sure that all the information is out there and in place. As a matter of fact, a lot of times you couldn't even deploy unless you have a family care plan.
Really?
Yeah, so it's very important that those things are in play because, they don't want to have a situation where, a family member, a spouse or whatever, children are kind of left, we call it flapping in the wind, right. Because, it's like, it's almost punishable if you don't have those things prepared.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
But yeah, I guess
yeah.
Because, you're putting your life on the line, if you will, right? And not to scare anybody, we're just talking about the realities of what it is. You put your life on the line when you walk out in the street. So everyone should have a sort of family care plan anyway. Mm-hmm. That's a whole nother topic, but in the military, they really drive that mission, that message forward because again, a soldier that's being deployed, their mindset and their peace of mind needs to be there. So they're in the game for the mission that's at hand, whether you're rigging trucks or, you're a lawyer across overseas, taking pictures for whatever topography situation, military wants to make sure that you have that peace of mind and your family's peace of mind is good. So they're very good at providing, from, you got your hospitals, your clinics, you have your VA or your AFEs, which is like a shopping centers.
Okay.
Everything that you would see on the outside, like I said, it's on the inside, and all of those resources are there to make sure that it's afforded to the family members.
Sure.
That's why I say it's a good. I always, I remember going in. I had a negative kind of thought when I was going in, but to be honest, it was one of the best things I believe that to this date, and I'm a man of a certain age, that was the best thing that I have done in my life and has absolutely prepared me to where I am today.
Sure.
So, yeah, you hear a lot of the horror stories about, just people going, there is a risk when you take it, when you go. As a truck driver, same, like I say, you can walk out the street and there's something that happens, but, you go in it with the knowledge, the information, and, and you're properly guided. That's why I do what I do, to talk to the people about, all the advantages and kind of lay out and dispel all the, the conspiracy theories or whatever. I don't know. However, the negative, ideas about it, and kind of map out kind of a guide on how they should do it. One of the programs I have is from recruit to retirement, and it's literally a plan of how you do it while you're in, like literally step by step, savings while you're in, how much you should save, what you should purchase. I always tell the young people, listen, a lot of these bases, they have predatory lending and cash, like payday cash loans and all of those things, or just like you're buying a car and your interest rates are crazy high and whatever. But I don't have any credit, and how do I even do that? I always, one of the things I tell people, first thing is, you're on the base, you don't have to buy food because you're eating in the cafeteria. You have a place to stay, so it's rent free, and they're gonna provide clothing for you because you're wearing these, your uniforms. So you can at least save 30% of your paycheck of what they're giving you a month. This is part of my program though, I encourage them to purchase a car, even if it's a high interest rate, because what you're doing, you're starting your credit situation. Okay. Then you can refinance that situation so you get a better interest rate. Mm-hmm. That recommendation is a recommendation I do within the program that I talk, and I can dive deep in, reach out to me. I can give you a deep dive on why that makes sense. But that's the thing. So have a car, but the rest you put in savings, and then we build those savings. Also, they have a 401k type plan in there, which is the TSP program where, whatever you put in, they'll match it. They'll match what it is. And it's the same thing as you would do as a 401k plan.
Yeah, matching? That's awesome.
Yes, they do. Oh. So it's the same thing. And it's guaranteed because now, that check is coming monthly or every 2 weeks or whatever, monthly. That's stored away. So now when you decide after 4 years, your initial enlistment, after 4 years, you see yourself a nice little savings. Mm-hmm. You have your car, credit is good. You have an advantage, and you're 23. Yeah. There's a start.
That is amazing. You're building yourself a little nest egg. That was what we were talking about in the first session that we had back in February, starting young with saving. And you're right. Like, I think of all the dumb stuff I bought from like 17 to like 24. It was clothes, food, and alcohol, just stupid things. And like, if you can save that, and put that together, that's great.
And you know what, to be honest with you, the fun side of it is you're doing all of that stuff within the military too. I tell people, hey, listen, it's not just missions and flying and all of this in the field and stuff. It's good time, right?
Mhm.
All the spoils that you have when you're out in the civilian world, we got the same thing going on over there, right? You're just getting paid to do it. It's really what it is.
Yeah. So, um, let's see. So with your program, is that through REEVX or is that outside of REEVX? Can
It's
you talk
outside of
about it a little bit?
REEVX. We're working on this year. We're actually working to implement it within the REEVX outfit.
Mm-hmm.
And part of our strategic plan is that to bring the two together and have the support of REEVX to then reach out to the military community and talk
Mm-hmm.
about for recruits. So as the recruits going in, they can actually reach out to us as RMs to kind of help guide them throughout their whole time, and having a relationship manager through their time in the military. It would be a good one because I know when I was deployed, I would have banks all over the place. Like I still have a bank account in Kentucky somewhere, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and with it, with us, obviously, and back then we didn't have the internet like it was today, right? So,
Right.
um, you know, having that where someone can really talk to you about what you need and your wants and needs remotely, or if you're overseas or family situations, this is something that will find very useful in
Mm-hmm.
helping the recruits then be able to do what they're doing on their end so they can continue, carry their mission forward. And then towards retirement, whether it's actually commencing after the 4 years or doing 10 years like I did and coming out, or even in retirement, because then we're talking about wealth building and wealth strategies, right? Your
Mm-hmm.
retirement funds, how that's going to look. We have people that specialize in that. So it's really, again, from the soup to the nuts method. As you go in, we're kind of, my mission is to help that soldier be the best he can be while he's being the best he can be for the nation. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's important. It is a good mission to put forward. I'm very excited to put that together.
That sounds like a great opportunity. I was gonna say, I think there is a pretty large veteran community and active duty community here in Boston.
Mhm.
We see folks every so often when they want to start their small business. Like we'll help folks with research, as people know. Um, uh, but yeah, I don't think we see the other side of that too much, where people are sort of out and about doing this sort of personal finance stuff, or even just like workforce development and skill building. We I don't think we see some of those people, or maybe we do. We don't ask always what people's background is when they attend our workshops. So it's really interesting. I'm rambling a little bit. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Yeah, and I think it's scattered too. I think there are
Mhm.
so many different types of programs that once you have a one-stop shop, kind of that those things, it's better. It's received better because now I don't have to go over here or even do the research because there are so many programs. When you have
Right.
that one-stop shop, it makes it more streamlined and easier for the person to navigate, the veteran to navigate, or even the curious to looking for something to navigate is better. So yeah.
Sure. Can you talk a little bit as like, someone who's a military family or military spouse, what are some things that they could take advantage of and help with their own like wealth building or personal finance or starting a business? If there's any programs that people should be aware of?
Yeah, so VA.gov has a plethora of information on families that can help with those things, and in and around, especially while you're in. There's so many programs that helps family members navigate those waters on starting their business. But I would start with there's one called homebase.org, which is like family and veterans and family care. That's one off the top of my head. There's so many. Man, I'm most embarrassed. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But
Oh,
there's so
I just
many.
pulled it up. Homebase.org. I'll put it in the chat because like I don't know these organizations, so I'm learning right now. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I'll leave some for, after, and then you can send it out in, in the
We can put
newsletter.
that in the description and
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But their job, their job is to help the spouses and family members uh, navigate and support themselves so they can support the family member. One of the things too, I just remembered, I wanted to say that also the VA loan, the GI Bill is also transferable to family members as well.
Oh, is
So
it?
say you don't take advantage, yeah. And a lot of times training within the military, you can train in the military and go to college for that training, which is already paid for while you're in. So then if you have your GI Bill that you would use afterwards, you can actually transfer it to a family member.
Oh, that's amazing. So if you
So if
have,
like my child wants to go to college and have a village, and it's transferable. And these benefits are for life. They've made it into law. I think when I was in, it was only for about 25 years, but now it's for life.
Oh, wow. That's
To be able to
amazing.
take advantage and also to transfer the benefit.
So someone can not have student loan debt and they can transfer along. We didn't talk about trades. Does the GI Bill work if you're going to trade school as well?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
Yeah. So,
I imagine like if you've already been a plumber in the army or any force or any branch, like you come out already a journeyman, or would you still have to go? Oh, maybe you don't know this, but
well, so no, so it's as long as the program is accredited
mhm.
and it's approved by the military, and I haven't seen anyone say, man, I don't know if they approve like a Trump University.
Yep.
I think you can even do that, but I'm saying most 9 times out of 10, as long as it's an accredited school, and I know that's a for-profit school, but even some of the for-profit schools, based on whatever that situation is, they do approve it. But it's about the credits. So if it's the credits that you accrue also are is part of that payment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's part-time, you only get a partial payment. It's
Mm-hmm.
full-time, it's full payment. So that's how it
Right.
works. So that's why I say it's most and all accredited institutions of education.
Sure.
But trade programs are a part of that because you got to learn the trade, and as long as it falls under those guidelines, yeah, those programs are approved as well.
Oh, that's awesome. Actually, you just reminded me. I have a buddy who, hold on. I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, but I will because he's a friend of mine. But hold on, not now. Are you familiar with Operation Code?
No, I am not.
It is a nonprofit sort of to get military families and veterans. I'll send it to you in the chat. It's just operationcode.org. But get them into coding schools.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which is
So
big,
it's
and I know that's
yeah.
big in the military right now. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of there's a lot of students that are looking to do that within the military too. Yeah, especially in the Air Force. There's been a push.
Oh yeah.
Some of my people have been doing that and doing coding for the Air Force.
So that brings me back. We had a conversation a couple of weeks ago, sort of when we were chatting about this, and we were talking about the Air Force and women. Is there special programs that women veterans or active duty service members can take advantage of?
So they try not to keep it gender biased, but
Okay.
however, if I were, and again, so yes and no, because there are, and it all depends on the program that you're in. But what I would say, if I were to give a hierarchy of anyone joining any military, male, female, whatever you claim, I would say I would do Air Force first, really, because those are the skills that actually will. So the thing is, because of promotion within the Air Force, you're required to actually pass certain exams and tests and aptitudes throughout your career.
Okay.
Which builds your resume for when you get out, right?
Oh, okay.
So I think that the Air Force and it's just a, you know, they always talk about the way of life, you know, the way of life in the Air Force is a lot easier. It's a lot, you know, we call it cushy land. But again, but if you know, again, bringing it to the civilian side, those skills are also, like I said, it's transferable for when you come out. Then I would say Army is close second because of the number of jobs and the number of jobs they have that are also transferable, and then the ability to build on that with education and stuff. You know, and all the benefits are the same across the board. So they can take advantage of VA loans. They can take advantage of you know, the education on the outside, and all, you know, the business learning and all that. All the military branches can take advantage of those. And another thing too, I always tell people too, the benefits. So I was full-time military, like I was in there full-time. I know that there are advantages of being part-time. However,
right,
part-time soldiers, and it may have changed, I don't think they have full advantage of all the benefits. I know, and I know that usually they're pulled first when some sort of deployment happens.
Okay.
People don't know that. Like, you could be part-time, but you're actually the first to be pulled in before you always see, like, if there's like some sort of deployment, oh, we sent the National Guard or whatever to go in first. They tend to be the first to be pulled in, and then the bases and all that stuff are activated and then move forward.
Okay.
So I always tell people it's better to go full-time just to immerse yourself in the experience. I don't know, you know, I don't know what the structure is going, you know, I know family and however, but if, you know, like I said, the typical soldier that's coming from high school, that's looking to join, I always encourage to do full-time service. The experience is a lot better. But, you know, it's based on, you know, again, it's based on what you can do. But if you can, I always tell people the full-time experience is the best.
Okay. All right. So it's not biased. It's just, I'm teasing a little bit.
I just think, you know, immersing yourself in the, yeah, maybe it's biased, but I think just immersing yourself in the thing as a whole instead of part-time. And, you know, there requirements, you know, your fitness requirements. I know it's harder, tends to be a little bit harder for part-time.
Yeah.
You know, soldiers to stay in that fitness requirement. We're in PT every day. You know, it's kind of like that's the thing. You know, part-time, they, you know, it's like 1 weekend a month, and you know, however a year, and that, you know, yeah, maybe it's biased. Yeah. I just feel like the full-time experience is better.
Oh, it makes sense because, like, I know folks who are in the reserves or whatever, and like when you get pulled away, like it is sort of disruptive to your life. I guess whatever makes sense for you is whatever makes sense. I guess I am as full as a civilian. I'm not a veteran, so I can't comment on this. But yeah,
and maybe
I was just curious.
Pressures like with work and stuff like that. I'm sure they're very understanding. I know that there are systems in place that jobs are required to adhere to if you are in the military. But I just find it, you know, I just find it to be one of those things where if I'm in it all together, it's just a better opportunity, and the advantages are even better.
Sure. So we're coming up to the top of the hour. I was going to say if you have any parting advice for anyone who is seeking to join the military, who is a veteran, or who is active duty, about their finances or small business. We didn't talk about that too much today, but like if there's any parting wisdom that you can give to any of those groups, whatever it may be.
First and foremost, to the youth, I know there are a lot of misconceptions about the military. Please, if there's anyone, I mean, I know recruiters have their job to do, but the misconceptions of what the military does and what it provides, they are misconceptions. I'm telling you, as a person of the community and who knows what's going on and what, you know, one is looking for, this is one of the greatest opportunities that you can have to then start. If you don't know what you want to do, and I should say if you don't want to do, I think even prior to you going into starting school and college, this is a great opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
People think, oh, it's going to make you this person or make you stronger or whatever. And there's a sense of discipline that comes with it, and that's great. However, the experience alone, and again, if you do it, I guess the right way, if you will, with the proper guidance, it can really set you up for life. Like it really can, if it's done correctly, it can really prepare you for a better life, better lifestyle. I've been in towns, and I'm going to just not to bring the race situation, but I've been in towns where I've been up against some people, and they like, who's this guy? Where are you from, son? And then they see that veteran badge on you. They accept you before anything else. That's almost a pass. So that's just one of the, I mean, I'm just saying, like, when they say like certain groups shouldn't join the military for whatever reasons, I always, call it out and say, no, man, I think these are the advantages that we can. Now, if you're going in blindly and just kind of willy-nilly and don't know what's going on, yeah, I mean, you're not going to be able to take advantage of it. But it's about doing the research, and it's really, so that part for the youth, misconceptions, talk to somebody, talk to me, help navigate those things. People who are in or plan to get out, make sure you have a good strategic plan for yourself so you commence successfully. And then when you do come out, there are a plethora, there are so many places to go to take advantage of all of the opportunities that are afforded to you, because they want you to be successful. And it it is more streamlined than it was 10, 20, 30 years ago, where it was kind of like, there are places that are, formed just to help you and see you become successful.
Oh, thank you so much. It's sort of interesting, sort of hearing, like, when people have the conception of the military, they think of like just like the war machine, but it's sort of interesting that, like, we covered today that the military can be a vehicle for helping folks build wealth, a vehicle for building skills and upskilling and attaining education, and then also with some of that extra skills and money, you can actually bring that back into the community by starting a small business. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah,
a lot of the real estate, and I know we're cutting close on time, a lot of the real estate guys, they bought their first multifamily. That's another conversation, especially in Boston. They bought their multifamilies where they were able to create housing, all those monies, bought more housing, and now they're these guys that are now the real estate guys, right? And that was through the military. Those benefits helped them. So yeah. One example.
So that's fantastic example. Because imagine having all that money in your pocket and being able to invest in property, especially now when property is so high. Yeah.
Right.
So that's great. Well, thank you so much, Edgar, for joining us this morning. I wanted to thank folks. Oh, we do have some comments. Someone joked and said they have a passbook account, and someone said that's a great resource. Oh, about InnoVets Boston. And then there were a few people who were sort of excited about some of the financial benefits that you were chatting about earlier. So
please look me up. I'm on Instagram. Bankers Block. But yeah, I mean, I'll leave some information.
I'll add that to the description.
Yeah, and for sure, like any questions that I can answer, I'm happy and willing any point in time.
Sure. And thank you for being a resource. I'm just throwing the contact information back up on the screen so people can check that out if they want to contact us for questions about the ASVAB, which is the test to get into the military. I don't know if we clarified that at the beginning, but if they want resources for prepping, we have some as well. And then I'll just throw Edgar's information up. So thank you so much for joining us again. I really appreciate you sharing your wisdom and experience. And I'm sure folks got a lot out of this. So thank you so much to you and the REEVX team as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.